Folks, welcome back to another episode of Fallen Badge. Episode today is going to be the murder of Officer Noah Shahnavaz, Elwood Police Department, Indiana. Folks, this episode is from a request by Trooper Banter. The story's going to center around the town of Elwood, Indiana, which is about a 45-50 minute drive north of Indianapolis. But before we get to the particulars of Elwood and Officer Shahnavaz, we're going to go back in time a little bit to November 30th, 2006, when our suspect was stopped by two Indianapolis officers. They got out of the car to approach his vehicle. He started cranking off rounds at him. Now he fired, they estimate, 7 rounds. 3 of them hit the squad car. So then they had a long chase. And they finally got him jammed up, got him stopped. Now inside his Suburban, he had the 9mm pistol, and he had an AK-47 with a drum magazine, which usually holds somewhere around 50 or 75 rounds. Now, he went to trial, and the jury found him guilty of everything except attempted murder on the police officers, which I would say I find that shocking, but with juries, you never can tell what they're going to do. I don't know how shooting at somebody's not attempted murder. I bet you if you let me crank some rounds off at you, I bet you'd want me charged with attempted murder. But anyway, so he's given a 25-year sentence, goes to prison, and he does about 13 years. He gets out in August of 2019. So this extremely violent offender is released after doing about half his time, back out onto the streets. Noah Shahnavaz, he'd been a police officer with the Elwood Department for about 11 months. Now, he'd been in the Army, military police when he was in the Army. He was real close with his family, his mom and dad and his brother and sister. Elwood's a small town, close-knit town. It's July 31st, 2022. Now, Officer Shahnavaz is working the midnight shift, one-man car. At about 2:07 a.m., he advises a dispatcher over the radio that he's going to make a traffic stop on Highway 37 cross street was West Madison County Road 1000 North. Now this stop location is just a little south of where Highway 13 turns into Anderson Street, which runs into downtown Elwood. Now, he gave the tag number of the vehicle. It was a white Buick LaCrosse. Now, not just a few seconds after he told the dispatcher he was stopping the car, he advises the driver's gotten out and he's armed with a gun. In fact, the dispatcher heard the gunshots. Now, we're not really sure what traffic infraction the suspect may have committed that caused Officer Shahnavaz to take notice of him and to stop him. A question you may ask yourself is, why did the suspect decide to go on and jump out of his car and kill the officer? Well, we know he didn't like the police. He'd already shown that from his history, and he even had a rap song about killing police. But see, he's on parole with the state of Indiana. If he gets caught with a pistol and a offshoot version of an AK-47 with an extended banana clip on it, and open beer and ecstasy tablets, which means he's probably DUI as well, he's pretty well revoked his parole. And then the feds are gonna indict him as a convicted felon in possession of a handgun. So there's no way our suspect's gonna let that happen. But again, I don't understand why you do all that. You're still gonna get caught. It's just one of those you don't think about the consequences of your actions. You just commit the actions because that's all you know how to do. Now, so after the gunshots are heard over the radio, cars make the scene out there on Highway 37. According to the crime scene investigation, the suspect fired 36 rounds into the squad car. Officer Shahnavaz is hit multiple times in the head and body. And then he leaves the scene. Now, I don't know how long it took responding officers to get there to the shooting location. And anyways, the broadcast is put out on the white Buick. They had the tag number, so they've got a name. Now, obviously, you don't know if that's the person driving the car, but it wouldn't take them long to figure out the fella that owns that car likes to shoot at the police. So you figure at best he probably had a 4 or 5 minute head start before the first officers got on the scene and confirmed what was going on. So Officer Shahnavaz made that traffic stop 2:07 a.m. Within 30 seconds, he's dead. Figure it takes them 4 or 5 minutes to get on the scene to verify that something's happened. Then the broadcast goes out for that vehicle, that tag number. At 2:25 a.m., Hamilton County Sheriff's Deputy, he's rolling along Highway 37 northbound. Now, it could have been he just was sitting at 216 and 37. Either way, at that intersection right there, he sees a Buick LaCrosse rolling southbound on Highway 37. He gets in behind it and refuses to stop. Tag number gonna match up, so now they know they got the suspect vehicle. So you see, that's how much freedom this moron gave himself for murdering Officer Shahnavaz. 18 minutes. Now that Hamilton County is behind him, he ain't gonna get loose. And rest assured, they're gonna run him to ground. Now this chase continued along Highway 37. I don't know where the suspect was going. Maybe he didn't know, but it sure seemed like he was trying to get into Indianapolis and maybe lose himself in the big city, but he didn't divert off that main road. Now, from the time he gets picked up by the first Hamilton County deputy, they go about 8 miles on this chase. They get down to Highway 37 and 141. Right around that intersection there, they deploy stop sticks. And they do get a hit. I believe it's his left front tire deflated. Now, of course, he didn't pull over and stop. He kept going, but it sure does limit his ability to do a whole lot when the tire goes flat and then he's riding the rim. And, of course, by this time, too, there's no telling how many agencies are involved in this pursuit, either officially or unofficially. But I promise you it wasn't just Hamilton County deputies on this. I imagine anybody with a badge and a gun and within a 30-mile radius was, if they weren't heading that way, they were somewhere in the convoy of squad cars. And if I was unprofessional, I would say I'm sorry, instead of deploying stop sticks, they didn't deploy a bolt and scope. So the suspect, he gets on to I-69 there off of 37. He's still moving along, just he ain't moving along too swiftly anymore. And City of Fishers Police Department, I suppose they jammed him up on the Jersey barriers there on the interstate, finally got him stopped. And it looked like it was just a little north of exit 106. Now, he still had his pistol and his rifle in the car, but I guess the suspect didn't want to shoot it out with a bunch of police, because then he might get hurt. So he surrendered, and he's taken into custody. Now, the defendant in this case, he's facing a murder charge, unlawful possession of a firearm by a serious violent felon, 2 counts of resisting law enforcement. Now, Mr. Cummins, who's the Attorney General for Madison County there in Indiana, he's asking for the death penalty. Now, there is no doubt if anyone deserves the death penalty, this fella here deserves the death penalty. Every second he breathes, he's just a threat to take the life of someone else. Now, the sad part is that he's guilty. There is no doubt about that. I don't think there's any question as to that. I'm sure he'll probably go for the old mental incompetency, I was mistreated as a child routine. But he'll probably get the death penalty. I think he deserves it, but he's going to appeal it all the way through the state system, all the way to the Indiana Supreme Court. Then he'll start in the federal system and work it all the way up to the Supreme Court. And then he'll start all over again. Now, I'm 60 years old, and God willing, I'll live to be about 75 or 80, so I might still be alive to see this pitiful excuse for a human being executed, but I don't know. But he sure did take the life of a good man. Just every one of these cases, the same thing. Good people's lives taken by terrible, awful people that need to be confined. And in almost every one of these cases, somebody that never should have been released the first time. But that's the system we deal with. That's why you should keep an eye on your state government. Definitely want to know what the director of corrections is doing in your state, because folks, every day thousands of violent felons are released across this country. Thousands and thousands of them in every state. Just keep that in mind. If harm comes to you or your family, just rest assured that odds are overwhelming that that person should have still been in prison. And you can thank the Department of Corrections in your state for allowing that to happen. Officer Noah Jacob Shahnavaz. End of watch, July 31st, 2022.